Hello everyone, can you hear me? Okay, nice to see you there. Today I will do a basic presentation of the technical part of Odoo. It will be very basics. It's more for people that start coding by themselves and then want to do easy customization. So for example, if you have your e-commerce and you want to connect it with the delivery system of Odoo or the manufacturing system of Odoo, if some machine that you need to produce something, I will learn you how to create objects and how to use them. So there is the QR code if you need it to put your question, so you can use it during the presentation. And after that I will let it 10 seconds, so you can scan it and we can begin. Okay, let's start with inventory. So inventory in Odoo, it's mainly the delivery and the receipt system. So you have the internal transfer, so it's basically moving stuff from one place to another place. If you are used to the functional system, there you have the view of the picking, and in this view we have two objects. So we have the stock picking, which is in purple, and it contains every common information to all the products. So it's the type of document. Is it an outgoing document? Is it an incoming receipt? Is it an internal transfer? And also you have the customer, the partner associated to the picking, but it doesn't have the detail for each product. So in green you have the stock move, and the stock move is the detail, so it's what you need to move. So it's, for example, I want to move my product and I want 5 units, and yeah, that's all. And they belong to the picking on top of it. So my delivery order has multiple stock moves that contain different products, and the product has the details. So technically how it works, I put the minimal required field in the creation. On the black part, the code you see, it's the code with the new JSON API. So you can call it from an external system. So you have another server that is running, and you can call this action to create some request that will create the delivery order or the receipt. So the only required field is the picking type. So the picking type is the type of operation. So it just say, okay, I want to do an outgoing or an incoming shipment. What is also important is to get back. So you have the create picking, and then you will get back all the IDs that are created by the system. So the URL is important also. It means use the model stock picking and use the create function. And as arguments, I want to pass a valve list with the picking type, and then I call the create from the server, and I get back the response, and in the response I have all the ID that I just created. But from there, we only have picking, but it's empty. We don't have anything inside. So now we have to create the move to move. So here it's another API. So this time we call it on the stock move and not the stock picking, but it's the same method, it's the create method. And as argument, we can pass a list of dictionary. And in each dictionary, for each move, we have to define the document where we put the move. So in our case, we create the picking and we want to put this move in the picking. So we use the picking ID key. The product also take an ID, and we want the quantity we want to move. So the product you want quantity, it's the initial demand of the move. So for each move, we always set an ID of the product and the quantity and the picking we want to move it. So again, we do the request, we create everything, and now we have a picking with the different move, and it's ready to process. But it's still in draft state, so you have nothing at the moment. So now it's time to process the order. And to process the order, we have 3 important functions. The first one is action confirm. Action confirm, it means that the picking is not more in draft state, it's in confirm state. So it will be taken into account for the forecast, and everything like replenishment and stuff like that will be processed. After that, when we really have to do the picking, so the picker have to pick everything, we have the action assign method. And the action assign method, it tells to the system, I want to block the different products for this picking. So I'm ready to pick them in the warehouse. And also it will specify on the move where they are, which area number you should pick, if I have enough in stock or not. And yeah, that's all. After that, when the picker has done everything, so for example you use barcode or in your system, he finished to move the product, you can call the mark as done function. So the button validate function, sorry. And the button validate function, it will process each move. So for each move, we know that it has, so the product has moved from the initial location to the destination location. And yeah, we are done. If you want to move fast and you are sure that all your products are in your stock, you don't need to call action confirm and action assign. So if you want to do super fast processing, you can directly call button validate and it will do the true previous action automatically. So now after the button validate, we have this picking. So in the interface you can see that everything is done and the picking is processed. So now for the picking it's all. There is also more complex stuff, but for example if you want to move specific lot and serial number, or if you want to use more than one location, then there is another object which is called stock move line, which is linked to a stock move, so it's an extra level, but it's a bit difficult and you don't need it at the beginning, so it's better to stick to the move, but the stock move line exists. So the production order, the same process than before. We want to create the production order before processing it. If we look at the interface, it's a bit similar to the picking, except that instead of the stock picking, we have the production order, but we still have the move inside. So the production order, it has the goods that we want to produce, but it also has the quantity we want to produce, and as the picking, it has an operation type. The operation type, it's a bit different in the manufacturing order than in the picking, because the manufacturer, you always manufacture, you don't have an outgoing or an incoming manufacturer. It's still a manufacturer, but it's important because you could have different warehouses for your manufacturing. They have all different locations where you can pick the goods or store the goods at the end. And that's why we ask for a picking type on the operation order. You have also the bill of material. The bill of material is very important. I won't do it without any bill of material set in the system, but if you want, you can already configure your system with existing bill of material, and you can call it directly when you create the manufacturing order. The stock move is the same than in the stock picking. So it's the same object, it has the same function, it has the same field. The stock move, in fact, I use in the stock picking, the manufacturing order, and also for repair, it uses stock move. But all the base of stock is handled by the stock move. Also, we have work orders on top of the stock move for the operation order. It's in the work orders tab. So in my example, I want to produce some pizza. So I have the component which are tomato sauce, cheese, and dog. But I have also to build the pizza. So I have different operations like assemble and I have to cook the pizza. So I have operation for the worker and for me that have cost. So it's also important in operation. So we have an extra object in manufacturing. For the creation of a manufacturing order, we have again the same code. So it's in Odoo, everything is built the same way. So you can see that it's exactly the same URL, and it's mrp.production/create. Before it was stock.picking/create. In fact, you can do it with every object in Odoo. So if you want to create a task, you can use project.task/create. If you want to create a sale order, you can use sale.order/create. So you can do it with all the objects in Odoo. And yeah, we have more argument to give for a production order. We have to put the picking type as in the picking, but we also want to give a product to produce and a quantity to produce. On the right, I also add extra arguments that you can pass. So for example, a bill of materials. You can also specify a date for your production and stuff like that. So we have this view now. We create the production order, but as before, we don't have any stock move in the production order and we don't have any work order, so we can do nothing with it. So yeah, let's create again the move. It's the same code than before. It's just a bit different because instead of giving a picking, since we are not in a picking anymore, we give the production where we want to put the move. You have to be careful. By default, you would say I want to use production ID as a key, but in Odoo it's not made like that. We have two keys. We have raw material production ID and production ID. The difference between the key is that raw production ID means I want to use the stock move as a component, and production ID means I want to use the stock move as a finished product. So if you want to produce more than a pizza, but you want also to produce, I don't know, smoke and stuff like that, then you can create new move with the new with the production ID key, and it will work. If you set a bill of material in the production order when you create it, you don't need to do that part because the system will already create different stock move for your production order. Since the bill of production has different products, he knows that he can use this bomb line to create stock move. But you can use a bill of material and you can still create new move after that if you want to add extra product or anything. Now we have the work order. So we have the production, we have the product to produce and we have the component to use, but we don't specify any operation to do. To do that, it's the object mrp.workorder. Again, it's a / create function, and it has different value that you can use. So you have the production ID key. For the work orders, you don't have different many to one because you don't have a work order for finish or component. They are part of the production, so it's always production ID. You have the name of the operation, and you also have to define work center where you want to process the operation. Also, for each time I use work center ID, stock move ID, product ID, or anything, you can always request the post with the object /create, and you can use multiple levels to create sub-object in chain if you want to. I also add extra key that you can put. You can put the duration expected, and you can also check IDs. It's for the instruction. It's also a bit more complex, but if you want to have steps, and for example the worker has to take measure and stuff like that, it's the quality check object that you have to use. So now we have the draft production. So we have the stock move, we have the work orders, and again it's time to build the production order. So how to interact with the production order? We always use the mrp.production / the different action. As argument, you can pass the ID on which you want to call them. It could be one ID or multiple ID if you want to process multiple production order at the same time. Again, it's very similar to stock picking. We have the action confirm. It will do the same. It will remove the draft state from the production order and put it in the confirm state. So it will trigger replenishment for the component and prepare everything. It will also confirm the finished product, so the finished product will appear to your forecasting and everything. You have the action assign. Again, we block the component, so we are sure we use them for this production order, and it's not possible to take them in another one. We have a slightly different action after that. It's the button plan, and the button plan is only used if you have work orders. If you don't have any work orders, it's useless. It just means now I want to plan all my work orders. It means I want to block them in a schedule, and for this schedule so they take a slot, and it won't be taken anymore for future work order. If you plan multiple production at the same time, it will lock all the schedule for your work orders. Okay, so we are now in this state. We we are in the configure state. You don't see it there, but the work order are already are planned. And so we have different actions. So this action is not for the production order, but it's for the work order. So if you have a worker at a table and you want him to record its time, it's a different function that you have to call. So each time it starts a new work order, you have to call the button start. So for example, you press on a touch and your system call button start on the work order is doing, and it will start to register time log for the current user. And it will also change the state of the work order as ready and register the current employee on your work order. Button pending is the same than start, except it's for pause. So if your worker needs to take time for lunch or anything, you can just call button pending until he comes back. And then we have the button finish. So once he finishes the task, he can call button finish, and it will mark the current work order as finished, and the next one will be ready to produce. Okay, so now after these three calls, so in this example I call start on the first ID, finish on the first ID, and start on the second ID. And so you can see that the first work order is finished, and the second one has started, so it's in progress. There it's a bit more difficult, but sometimes you will have extra information to use in your system. So for example, let's say that for a component, initially I wanted to use 2 units, but finally I can do it with only 1 unit. So you have to update the system with this new information. And for this, it's a very popular method. It's the array method. So you have the create, write, and link method in Odoo. Create is to create new records, and the write method is to update value on this record. So in my case, I pass as IDs the record that I want to update, and the vals is the new field that I want to update. So in my case, I want to update the quantity field, and I want to set the new quantity to 1. On the stock move, there is 2 fields. There is the production quantity, which is the initial demand. It's used for forecasting, but you have also the quantity field, and the quantity field, it means the real quantity that I'm processing right now. And once I have done all my update on my stock move or work order or anything, I can close the manufacturing order. And the same way than stock picking, I just call button markdown on my manufacturing order. Again, it's mrp.production/ and button markdown with the ID that I want to close. After the slash, in fact, on the JSON RPC, you call in the first place the object you want to the object that you want to process, and after the slash, you have a lot of different methods on the object, so you can call a lot of different action on this object. In my case, it's button markdown, so you can see my production is finished, and you can see on my last move I have my update of 1 unit. And that's all for this flow. It's very simple, but I think it's a good way to start the customization and do the integration with the system. And I think the best is to test yourself. There is a lot of useful resources for the external API. For example, on the documentation, you can check for the external API docs. It will explain you how to generate an API key and to interact with the system. And also on the, let's test, do I have, yeah, I have, no, I will test it on one bot. I will show you another important stuff. Then we can do the Q&A. You have the /doc URL, and in the /doc URL you can it will display all the different models you have in Odoo. So let's take, for example, the picking I just showed you, it's the transfer. And there you can select the module where you want to see the overwrite, and you have all the fields. You can see all the different fields that you can customize, and you have also all the different methods with a small description and you have also the same example I did and you can test it on your local machine. So it's a very good place to explain to understand the models and to see what is available on them. So yeah, let's go to the question now. For the it depending for the when you create when you want to enter a lot. If it's a receipt, you don't have any ID at the moment in the system. I will tell the question because it's not on the screen. But in case of writing for the lot number for a stock move line, do I need to write the ID for the lot, or can I enter the name? If it's a receipt, we don't have any ID in the system, so we don't expect user to select a record. So you just you can specify the lot name at this point, and when you validate, it will transform the lot name in a new stock lot record. But when it's a delivery, you don't want to create a new lot, so you need to enter the ID of the lot you want to process. But what you can do is you can search on the name. So you go on stock.lot/search, and you can specify a domain, so something like name equal my lot name, and you will get the ID, and from this ID you can just fill your stock move line with the ID. And yeah, so for your stock move line you specify the move here where you can put the stock move line, and it will be all.
Thank you. Maybe you can explain the QR code again, because people didn't have it.
Yeah,
scan
sure.
it, I think.
Yeah, so
They're scanning and
yeah, if you want to ask more questions, you can always scan the QR code, and I go directly to the pad.
Maybe you can remind them where they can find you today or tomorrow.
Sorry?
Will you be at your booth today?
Yeah, and if you have more questions, and if you want to know more about Odoo and customization, we have developer booths at in this direction, and you can always ask us, and we will explain you. There is always some developer in the area, and you can explain what you want to do, and they will give you some hint on how to start your customization and how to do it. Okay, let's take if there is more.
Because we don't have any more questions.
No, we don't have any more questions, so I think we can stop it there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming and listening to me.